Hey guys, I'm Kendra.
Hi, I'm Mercedes, and this week we're talking about an iconic retelling of Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. She's the man.
Yes, we chose the Shakespeare adaptation rom-com because Meet Cute September series entitled Mid-Semester Night's Dream is also a Shakespeare adaptation. Can you tell we're super fans of Shakespeare?
For real. Twelfth Night's my fave, so
Is
I'm
it?
very excited. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, guys, of course, we have to kick it off with our celebrity crush of the week. Mercedes, who are you crushing on this week?
Oh my goodness. I just saw Bodies, Bodies, Bodies last week in theaters. Lee Pace
Mhm.
is my crush of the week. He's like
Oh,
five.
lo- yes.
Just amazing, and like, gosh, that movie is so chaotic. I need to rewatch it again just because it was just insane. I loved it.
Wait, have you heard about all the controversy around Amanda Stenberg and the New York Times
Yeah.
writer? Have you been following
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I have. I love how it's like become a meme now. Like, why publicize any DM? Like, I don't know. I guess I'm just a different type of person. I would never put that stuff out there like that, but that's
It
just me.
is so funny. I don't know how I got on that side of TikTok, but then all of a sudden my entire feed was just that. But yes, Lee Pace, he's so fine, and he plays
Mhm.
Lord is it Lord Elrond in The Hobbit? I have to
Ooh,
remember his
you
name,
would
but
know
he
better
looks
than
so good.
me.
He looks so good in The Hobbit. You would love him, Mercedes. Okay, so I feel like Dermot Kennedy is the person I always resort back to when I'm just like, I don't know if I have a story crush this week.
Mhm.
But the thing is, he actually is my crush this week because he has been busking all around the US to raise money for charity. And that man just has like an angelic voice. I don't know how he does it. Like every single night in a different city, he is busting out these
That's
beautiful ballads.
amazing.
Yeah, and I love him. I'm so enthralled with him. He will always and forever be my celebrity crush. So
Oh,
shout out to Kennedy. Yeah.
we truly he comes up in every episode.
And
We love
every
him
episode
here.
I know. So sorry, so sorry. All right, guys,
No,
it's time
it's
for
amazing.
it is time for the TLDR. We like to recap the movie for anyone who hasn't seen it. Warning, there are spoilers ahead. If you have not seen this, I think you can buy this movie on Amazon. Is that right? Where did you watch it, Mercedes?
I rented on Amazon.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Good old Amazon. So, Viola, played by Amanda Bynes, is a star soccer player at her private high school. She seemingly has a great life with her boyfriend Justin, being the star player of the boys' team, great friends, and a mischievous twin brother Sebastian. When her school cuts the girls' soccer team and her boyfriend makes incredibly sexist comments that lead to their breakup, it seems that her perfect world is crumbling. Viola devises a plan, though, when she learns her brother, Sebastian, will miss the first 2 weeks of school to go play with his band around London. She decides she's going to pretend to be Sebastian and try out for the boys' soccer team, much to the chagrin of her overbearing mother, who would much rather her be a debutante. With the help of her friends, Viola is transformed into Sebastian and ready for tryouts when she meets her roommate, Duke, played by the ever so loving Channing Tatum. Together, they agree that Duke will help Viola make first string on the soccer team if Viola can get the popular girl Olivia to go out with him. Things get muddled though when Olivia actually falls for Sebastian and Viola ends up falling for Duke. And Duke knows Olivia likes Sebastian and ends up getting mad at him for when he mistakenly thinks that they kissed. When the real Sebastian unexpectedly shows back up at school, Viola has no choice but to reveal her plan to everyone, including Duke. But who doesn't like girls who are beautiful and also kick butt? We do like it. But who doesn't like girls who are beautiful and can also kick butt at soccer? All's well that ends well, as long as Viola stays a girl. This is a 2006 film written by the icons himself, Karen McCullough and Kirsten Smith, who also wrote some of our favorite rom-coms like 10 Things I Hate About You, The Ugly Truth, and Legally Blonde. And it's also written by Ewan Leslie, who co-produced The Secret Life of Bees. And it's directed by Andy Fickman, who also did Race to Witch Mountain, Paul Blart Mall Cop. I can never say that. Like
Paul
literally
Blart
that 10
Mall
times.
Cop.
Blah, 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 and Kevin Can Wait. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me some of your facts, Mercedes.
Oh my goodness. So, probably my favorite fact is that Amanda Bynes really fought to get Channing Tatum in this movie. Like, she's one
Oh
of the main
wow.
reasons he actually got cast in it because since he was so unknown at the time, 2006 was his year. We know that.
Was his year. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my God. I say that so many
his
times. Yeah.
breakout year, and we're so grateful for 2006 for that. But he wasn't
Mhm.
a star yet, so the producers really needed to be convinced, and Amanda Bynes was like, "The girls are gonna love this guy. We need him."
Yes. Yes. Exactly. It's so
So
funny
true.
because I actually read that she kind of had a crush on him during filming. So
How could you not? How
how
could
could
you
you
not?
not? Oh my gosh, this was like peak Channing Tatum. I mean, I don't
Oh,
this was like golden year Channing Tatum, but I also read that Amanda could not play soccer at all when they started filming, but she ended up doing all of her own stunts anyways, which is very
she is
impressive.
so impressive. She
Mhm.
truly, like, I'm gonna say this a lot throughout this episode. I just think
Yeah.
Amanda Bynes needs so much more appreciation than she gets because truly,
Mm,
like, as a young comedian, when
mhm.
growing up, when we were growing up as well, like, she
Yeah,
is so special and so important, and, like, I think she just brought so much joy and entertainment to, like, the late '90s, early 2000s that she does not
yeah.
get the credit for.
I 100% agree. The Amanda show was, like, iconic. I don't think people understand how revolutionary that was for someone of her age to do all of that. She was basically having, like, daily SNL shows, like, by
Yeah.
herself, essentially, which
She was like
is
a young millennial Carol Burnett, basically.
Wow, that's a good comparison, Mercedes. I like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so I wanna talk about all the ways that this movie is similar to Shakespeare's Twelfth Night.
Yes.
So there are a lot, so bear with me. Okay, so the school is called Illyria, which is the name of the country where the play takes place. Duke Orsino's character is based on Orsino, who is also a duke. Duke's friends are named Toby and Andrew in the play, and Toby is Olivia's uncle, and Andrew is one of her suitors. And then in the play, Viola is not impersonating her brother in particular, just that man, and she calls herself Cesario, which is the name of the restaurant scene where Sebastian and Viola break up with Monique, and where Duke, Olivia, Eunice, and Sebastian slash Viola briefly double date. And then um, on Viola's first day at Illyria, she walks by a school theater playbill entitled What You Will. And then, oh my gosh, this is the last one, I hope. In Twelfth Night, Olivia has a steward named Malvolio who is in love with her, and the character of Malcolm is based on him and has a pet tarantula named Malvolio.
Yes. There's so many things. Oh,
Mhm.
I love a good adaptation. I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
know,
so
me
good.
too.
And just like the little ways, because I don't know, like the first time I watched this, I was so young. I had never read Shakespeare. I hadn't read Shakespeare yet. And then
Yeah.
by the time I was reading this play in school, we got to watch it in school, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this movie's amazing. Like to know that this movie is so cool and then get to like and then learn that it's actually based on Shakespeare, iconic.
Wait, Mercedes, you watched this movie in school, like in class?
Yeah. In
Are you
7th grade.
serious? Wait, I wanna go to your school.
Yeah,
We
we
did
read
never
this
watch a
and
movie
then we
like
watched
this.
it. Dude, yeah, I remember being so excited, being like, "We get to watch Channing Tatum for school
Mhm.
and then have a quiz on Channing Tatum." I was
No,
so
stop.
excited.
Oh my gosh, never in a million years. My goodness. What
I
else
do
do you
have
have for me?
another
Facts?
yeah, I have
Yeah.
another fact that's a little sad. And
Mm.
Amanda Bynes in 2018 did a Paper Mag interview where she explained how 4 to 6 months like after this movie came out, after seeing herself play a guy, she went into like a depression like for a
Mm.
few months after, and because she hated how she looked as a guy, and it really just like
Mm.
did something just like, I don't know, like it triggered something in her mental health. And yeah, that's just so sad. Like it was so jarring for her that it was
Yeah,
not a good viewing. And I mean,
dang.
watching herself on screen anyway would be uncomfortable for me at least.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine when you're in full costume dressing up as something
Mhm.
completely different than yourself.
I understand that. I understand that. I can understand how that can be incredibly hard. I could imagine seeing myself. I think it's interesting too because I've talked with this with my friends about how sometimes, especially when it comes to dating, I struggle with feeling like super masculine. And I kind of that's one of the things I really don't like about myself is like just masculine energy that I give off because I do want to be seen as like softer and like, more feminine. Cause you equate femininity with like beauty and things like this. And I think because I feel more masculine, it kind of skews that version of myself. So I understand where she's coming from, but it's something that I've talked about a lot with my friends as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's difficult because a lot of those feelings are projected upon you. They're not
Mhm.
necessarily in your control because they're just like societal standards that are
Yeah.
setting the binary. And you're just
Mhm.
like stuck in the middle and you're like, I'm just being myself.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Guys, we're gonna move over into time capsule nurses, and I just like to recall where we were when we first watched the movie, which, like we were just saying, 2006 was the year that the world was blessed with Channing Tatum. We're so grateful. like, no one really knew who he was until Step Up, and they came in Step Up and, like, freaking killed it. We're like, "Who's this white boy that can dance?"
Literally.
And
Real ones know about Coach Carter, but he didn't
oh,
really have, like,
yes!
speaking roles.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yes, Coach Carter. Oh my gosh, okay, forget that. Yes. I remember watching Step Up and like going back because I had seen Coach Carter before and going back and watching like,
Yeah,
yo, that's Channing Tatum. He just like drops a couple jokes and then that's it.
literally.
Um,
It's
yeah.
actually so funny because I feel like on TV, they always show, like, Coach Carter and Step Up, like, the same weekend. So I think for, like, multiple years growing up, I would watch them side by side, and I was just like, "Oh,
Mhm.
man, this guy,
Yep.
I love him."
Yeah, I know. That's a yeah. Oh my gosh. So I just feel like my eyes have been blessed since 2006. But the thing is, I don't remember where I was when I watched this because I was just too concerned with looking at how beautiful Channing Tatum was. So I could not tell you where I was. But where were you, Mercedes? Do you remember?
I was in elementary school when I saw this, and yeah, like, I grew up playing soccer, and I think if you're a millennial girl who also grew up playing soccer, this movie is pretty special to you, and you've seen
Mhm,
it a lot. You've seen it at soccer sleepovers. You've probably seen it on the way to away games, like
mhm,
on the bus ride somewhere, and you've
mhm,
seen it like just so many times, especially like early 2000s was such like girl power, like sexism is defeated by like teen girls playing soccer.
yep.
And so like there were a lot and I ate it up. I loved every second of those movies and it was just so great.
Mhm,
And I think like I was always a huge fan of Amanda Bynes when I was
mhm,
younger and I just thought she was so cool. So seeing someone who I already really admired playing soccer was so cool to me. And then,
yes.
like, the fact that she lands Channing Tatum, you're just like, "Oh my god, this movie, I love it." And like I said, I watched it one
Mhm,
of my favorite memories is watching it in 7th grade and being so excited about it. And,
mhm.
yeah, and I always think of my friend Riley when I watch this because 'cause we've seen it so many times. Like, we would quote it all the
Yeah.
time, like, random quotes that aren't even iconic. We were just saying them to say them. Usually, Duke or Channing Tatum was a code name for my crushes in, like, middle school.
Mhm.
So, it means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so funny. In 2006, I was actually starting my freshman year of high school. And so I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Step Up really inspired me to continue dancing in the hopes that I'd land my own Channing Tatum. Um, I know, I know. Fun fact, real life is not like the movie Step Up. There aren't cute straight men like Channing Tatum just like joining dance teams. It's not the case. That's
That's so
okay.
sad, yeah. He's not doing his community service.
Exactly. Guys, it's time for the Rom-Com Hall of Fame. But of course,
Yeah.
first, Mercedes, we gotta roast this movie because there's kind of a lot. Um,
There is a lot.
there's a lot to the point that I would almost say like literally everything about this movie is a roast. Like the whole premise of this movie is rooted in sexism. But
Yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts first.
I completely agree with you. This movie is focused on blatant sexism, and that's so frustrating to see it played out on the soccer field or in like the casual, just like friend moments between
Mhm,
characters. But it's also just painfully the point it's trying to make in this movie, and it really just drives it in. Like, without the
mhm,
elevated displays of it, then
mhm,
Viola doesn't have any stakes. And it hurts because it's so extreme, and you don't want to see her like fighting to prove herself because that's just so despicable and disappointing. And you just want to like smack her ex boyfriend and like you just,
mhm.
and like that awful coach at Cornwall, but she also has to do it or else there's no plot. So it's one of those things where it's like any of these athletic movies, you're always seeing these women face so many trials. Like I'm pretty sure we had the same discussion with Love and Basketball as well, where we're like, I
Mhm.
don't want to see her have to struggle like this. I don't want to see her have to go through these things, but also without it, what are we doing?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot. Okay, when we talk about Rose, yes, there's a lot that's like rooted in sexism and like gender roles, but also too just like what was cool at the time, like air quotes, right? So I think a lot of comebacks in this movie are so corny, and like if someone said that, I'd be like everyone on the street would stop and be like, What did you just say?" Like there's a when Justin and Duke are about to fight, uh, they're like you're about to die. And then the other one's like, what are you going to do? Drown me in your tears? I think, what? That's that. But also too, just like the scene, it's interesting. The scene where we first meet Olivia is actually
Yeah.
kind of gross because she's introduced as a girl who just got out of a relationship, and the guys are talking. They're literally like, "If her confidence is down, it's time to pounce." And I'm just like, "Bleh, bleh, don't, no, no, absolutely
Yeah.
not. Stop right there. Don't ever think that. Don't ever say that. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's
It's
a
inflicted pain."
terrifying comment.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oy.
It's
Um,
very terrifying.
for real. My other roast is a little longer, and
Go
it's
for it.
because there's just a lot to say about gender performance in this movie.
Mm.
And there's been a lot of think pieces through the years analyzing how gender is portrayed here. I'm about to put my media studies cap on.
Let's
And
go.
there's just a lot of different angles that I've seen it from. I've seen it praised in a lot of ways for the way that it somehow portrays gender fluidity through the character of Viola, like impersonating Sebastian. But I've also seen a lot of critiques in how it stays within like the binary gender swapping here. And I don't know. This was made in 2006, so gender fluidity wouldn't be a conversation in mainstream media because it barely is now, and it's 2022.
Mhm,
And there's no singular way to be any gender, but here we see very specific performances on how to act in order to be a certain way and perceived a certain way.
mhm.
And as an adult watching, I often wonder like what Judith Butler, like the gender theorist, would think of this movie. But because the gender binary performance is like so important to the plot and so necessary, but also it's not fun to see because I don't know, we know that it doesn't work like that. And I don't know, Viola's exaggerated performance of Sebastian is often critiqued because who would believe her as her brother? That's what the critique is like, oh, she doesn't look like a guy. But really, like, the better question we have to ask is like, why does Viola think that she has to perform manhood in such like a toxic way where she's talking about women in such insane ways and also talking and invalidating like the other like Duke's emotions a lot of the time
Mhm,
and teasing
mhm,
him for that. Like, why is that her assumed idea of like what masculinity is supposed to be? And how did she learn that? Because she did learn that from somebody, whether that be in
mhm,
family life or like whoever, whatever men were in her life. So that's super interesting. And then along with
mhm.
all of this is like proving your gender by displaying your physical anatomy. This just wouldn't fly now because, as we know, gender and sex are not the same, and body parts don't prove anyone's gender. So at the game, when they're proving that, like that's such like a I don't know, early 2000s type of humor, being like, "Oh, I'm a girl. Let me show you my boobs to this whole soccer field." So I don't know. There's a lot of things, a lot of takes here, and I just wanted to bring some of them up because it's pretty interesting.
You know, it's interesting because the points that you bring up, there's another side to them as well, which is like this idea of homophobia,
Ah,
along with like masculinity and gender roles. Because I think this movie really kind of leans into that whole idea of like men cannot be vulnerable, men cannot share emotions, men cannot show any type of femininity within them without them being perceived as gay or homosexual
mhm.
or being softer or things like that. And I really almost I love the part where Viola and, no, Sebastian and Duke are sitting on the bed, like, talking, and, Sebastian's like, "Oh, you're actually a really sensitive guy," and just, like, that kind of, like, light bulb that goes off, like, it's surprising, it's like, "Well, no, that's okay," you know? It's okay that he is, like, it's okay that men cry, it's okay that men show emotions, it's okay that men feel things, but this movie is very much going against that of like, no, you have to, you know, you have to just like tough it up and just like stick it out and all of that stuff. And so it's very interesting how this idea of like homophobia, what it means to be masculine shows up in that way as well.
It is. It's so interesting, and it's also they do turn it on its toes because I mean, we end up just I don't know, like the villain here is like the most like hyper masculine or like the supposed hyper masculine Cornwall team, you
Mhm,
know, and like trying to shame her for so many reasons. Or is trying to shame Viola for so many reasons, and but also like they tease him for crying. It's like so many different angles here, and this
mhm.
movie is so interesting. Like that's why there's so many essays on it. Like it's so like there's so many different takes. Also, my last
Mm,
roast. Playing
mhm,
soccer
go
with
for
your
it.
hair down. That's how I know this is
Yeah.
directed by a man. Give that girl a hair tie.
I thought the same thing, Mercedes. I thought the same thing. That's so
It's so annoying. Like every time, ever since I was like 10 years old watching this, I've been like, absolutely not. Give her a ponytail holder.
funny. Absolutely. All right, guys. Let's talk about quotes. This isn't necessarily my favorite quote, but when I heard this quote, I have a funny story to share with you. So it's a quote when Viola asked Fashions like, "Suck it up, be a man, rub some dirt in it." So, rub some dirt in it is a popular term that people would use to just like symbolize like toughen up, like
Yeah.
just push through it. I did not know this growing up. I did not hear this term until high school. So I remember in high school, I was texting my crush and I mentioned I was having a problem with something. I can't remember. But before this, like I said, I had never heard of the term like rub some dirt in it. So I told him this problem and he was like, and he texted me back. He was like, rub some dirt in it. And I responded with, yeah, you like dirty girls.
Oh my God. Okay, flirty.
But the thing is, he was like, what? Because I did not know that he meant like
Like
talking,
a,
like sticking
yeah.
out. Yeah. I was like,
That's so funny. Oh my God.
I was just like, "You like dirty girl." Oh, I was so bold, Mercedes. I do this all the time. I was so bold when I was younger. I used to say stuff like that just on the fly. And I would never, I think after that instance, I'm like, yeah, let me just keep my mouth shut forever.
Aw.
Yeah. So bad, so bad. What was your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is Viola's entire breakup as Sebastian at the pizza shop, and she's like, "When my eyes are closed, I can see you for what you truly are, which is ugly," and it's just perfect. Also, like, I love like, "Do you like cheese?" "I sure do. My favorite's Gouda." Like, perfect.
Iconic, iconic. All right. So Mercedes, if this movie popped up on your Tinder feed, are you swiping left or are you swiping right?
I am swiping right forever. This movie is so fun. I've seen it so many times, and I still love it. Amanda
Mhm.
Bynes and Channing Tatum are such a solid comedic duo. I love their scenes together, and I think they level out like chaotic silliness with emotional sincerity in a lot of their scenes. Their career should be praised way more than they are. Like I said, Amanda
Mhm.
Bynes is someone who deserves way more credit for her work in the 90s and early 2000s. She is a comedic icon to me, and she just gave us like such amazing entertainment and is just great. She was great for young people
Mhm.
back in the day, and I'm so appreciative because really her career back then is unmatched. Like you can't really compare it to a lot of people. And yeah, she just makes this movie what it is. Without her
Mhm.
performance, it would be lacking a lot of charm. And honestly, I don't think it would be nearly as good or nearly as memorable. And Channing Tatum alike is he is just so undeniably amazing. And the fact that he's so hot and like so funny is so
Yes.
important to emphasize because not a lot of actors can do that. And I think
Mm.
he's one of very few now that that has that charm and also the ability to do like dramatic emotional scenes as well and then also just look like hot as hell. And like I
Yeah.
said, this movie was like during the girl power era in the early 2000s, and I think it's really solidified itself as an early 2000s movie. And
Mhm.
I don't think you could make it today without analyzing gender performance in a much more complex way. So it's become far more than just a modern Shakespeare adaptation. It's also become a period piece for the early 2000s. So that's really fun. And yeah,
Mhm.
I love this movie. I love watching Olivia prove everyone wrong. And the soundtrack is so perfectly 2006.
So
Also,
perfectly 2006.
I have like a slight little just like thought I had while rewatching this is I think it's so interesting how much of like the work of Shakespeare and who's the most well-known writer in history fits so well into the teen romance category.
Mm.
And people love to belittle the interests of teen girls, and yet his famous stories function so well as adaptations to portray teen girlhood. And here we see a teen girl who's denying all the ways teen girls are ridiculed, which is traditional expressions of femininity. We see her as a debutante, she's really struggling.
Mhm.
And then she aims to play soccer and be and succeed as an athlete only to be shamed for that too. Like what do these men want from teen girls? Like
Yeah.
we can't they can't do anything. It's so annoying.
You can't have it one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. Mercedes, I love when you go on your tangents of your analysis of our movies because you have like this whole thing right now, and I'm over here like, yeah, I mean, yeah, like I have like one sentence. So basically, if this movie popped up on my Tinder feed, unfortunately, I'm gonna be swiping left. It's because this movie is fun, but there are a lot of moments in it that are and, like, there's a ton of moments in it that are so funny, but if I was never able to watch this rom-com again, I'd be like, "Okay." Like, there are some rom-coms I cannot live without, but I could live
Yeah.
without this one just fine. Like, if I had to narrow down my list of all rom-coms into, like, top 10, like, this one probably wouldn't make my top 10, but it's enjoyable, right? It's super enjoyable, so that's, fine. You could go on a first date with it and then, you know, just for funsies. And then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's totally fine.
So true.
Great. Okay, guys, it's time for couples therapy. Mercedes and I just like to give advice on the characters on how they can improve their relationship. And I just want to make sure I make this point. These are all teenagers in a private high school that live a very privileged life. Like, they're in
Mhm.
such a small bubble compared to the bigger world. Like, these are all very high school relationships, right? Like, no one should be taking this seriously in any way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
I don't think anyone has the maturity or communication skills to maintain a long, healthy relationship. And there's so much fighting in here because people don't know how to communicate what they're feeling. Like, it leave it in high school. Leave it. It's fine for high school, but leave it in high school. That's all I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's hard to give, like, true advice to, like, the high school movies because so many of them are just like, "You're a teen, just
Yeah.
learn." Like, here, like, I just think honesty is probably number 1 for
Mm.
this couple. And just, like, continued vulnerability because we see at the end, Viola really assures Duke that she felt for him during the moments where he opened up to her as a roommate,
Yeah.
um, when he didn't know who he was really talking to. And that's such an important point that she makes, and I'm glad she tells him because it validates his vulnerability. Because I think immediately he felt a lot of shame there.
Mm.
And she does her best to really combat that and be like, no, like it is so good that you shared all that. And hopefully he just continues that with her. And I think that's like the best case scenario. He's such a sensitive, like emotional guy. And I think
Mhm.
leading with that instead of trying to put that wall up is really going to benefit him. Because, man, imagine he's so hot and so sensitive.
You're so funny. You're such a Sid person. I just love it.
I
Um,
am. Oh, gosh.
if we're talking about their love language, I would definitely say Viola is words of affirmation. Like she has so much confidence in who she is as a person, but she needs someone
Mhm.
on her side supporting her as well. Like you could tell how much it hurt her when Justin like said those comments that were like kind of degrading to her. And she's like,
Yeah,
relationship over. Like she doesn't have confidence to be like, I know how I should be treated, but what I need from you is I need you to stand by my side. I need you to support me in who
totally.
I am. And I just feel like that's really important in any relationship. And then Duke because he's kind of the dog in the first part of this movie, like, I would say physical touch, but then also 2 words of affirmation as well. He is a really sensitive guy at the heart, and I think he'd be just as happy sitting and having a conversation for hours as he would be, like, making out with Viola, so
Yeah.
there's the best of both worlds.
Yes, I love that. I think Viola gives quality time.
Mhm.
And I think she needs acts of service and quality time. I totally agree with you that she definitely deserves more than like an insecure man. Like she needs a man who can stand on his own because she can stand on her own.
Mhm.
And I think her trust builds through quality time. And I think Duke gives acts of service and needs quality time. Like I just think all of those moments with them just one on one are really where we see this bond grow and just this trust build, because right off the bat, like they are not gonna mesh. And I don't know, I just think through like moments together, like on the soccer field, early mornings, or just like roommate time, like they really come together. And I think acts of service for Duke just because like he's willing to put in the time to like train with Viola, when she's playing Sebastian to really build up her skills. And he just seems like I don't know. He seems like the type of guy that would just pull through with acts of service, and she seems like the type of strong-willed, independent woman who doesn't want to ask for the acts of service, but definitely it's well deserved there. So,
Absolutely. Well
yeah.
deserved. Well deserved. All right, so I have to ask you, Mercedes, does this couple last in 5 years?
No, but
Uh,
this is a stellar high school romance. Like, imagine having this under your belt as like, "Oh, yeah, like, my ex and I had this crazy story."
Yeah, exactly. I 100% agree. I feel like they're not gonna last, but it is such a fun story to tell people on, like, how you met. And I'm curious for you, do you have a cute romantic way you'd like to meet someone? I'm sure I've asked you this before, but just as a refresher.
I don't think I have exactly one. I mean, I think we're similar in the way that we, like, daydream, like, cinematic meet cutes pretty often.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I think, like, anytime we've talked about, like, the whole airplane, you're like, "I'm gonna meet somebody at the airport." But, like, also, I
Yeah.
always look like trash at the airport, so I hopefully not. I used to come up with pretty crazy ways that I'd meet Harry Styles in high
Oh, yeah?
school, but those are a little long-winded, so we'll share them a different
Yeah.
day.
I will say I do think I met my future husband at a wedding last weekend. So
Oh my
there's
god,
that.
okay, casual.
I casual, I know. He's really cute, kind of everything that I'm looking for, and I have this friend that I met in Japan, like, 5 years ago, and, she got married last weekend in this small town in Germany, and me and my other friend, like, all 3 of us met in a hostel, we went, and it's her husband's brother, and I just think he is so cute and literally exactly what I'm looking for in a guy, and this was, like, a very small person wedding, like, there were, like, under 30
Oh
people there,
my
uh,
gosh.
and we just, like, talked all night, and I know he's probably never going to listen to this, so I could just, like, talk about it freely, but yeah, he's so cute. It's just, like, perfect. It's just the timing's
Have
not
you
right,
have you
unfortunately.
messaged him?
No, the timing's not right because, not to spill all this business, but, like, he just got out of a relationship, like, last year
Mm,
that was,
okay.
like, I think was pretty bad, so just my luck, Mercedes, it's never the right timing, but,
Okay,
I'll
well, last year, at least it's, like, nearing the end of this year. It's not like January.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But, sometimes people need time to heal. I know
True,
after
true,
after
true.
my last relationship, I was like, "I'm ready to jump back on," but, like, my heart was still hurting. So just wanna make
Yeah,
I want whoever I'm gonna be with, I want their heart to be completely healed before.
exactly, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. Oh
yeah,
my
exactly.
goodness. Ah,
We'll keep you updated. We'll keep you updated.
yes, this is amazing.
Alright, guys. It is time for Heartthrob Mercedes, and I just like to gush about who we had a crush on in the movie, and I think we're on the same page here, Mercedes, but you tell me who
Hell
you
yeah.
like.
Obviously, Duke is everything. Like, Channing
Obviously.
Tatum just deserves so much more credit at being hot and charming and sensitive and sweet. And it's so
Mhm.
precious to see Duke get nervous and flustered because he's so hot, but he's also like so soft and like he looks like he'd be like the most intimidating hot guy. Like early 2000s
Yes.
Abercrombie, like, looks like
Mhm.
he would bully you, but, like, actually, he's non-threatening and, like, super sweet, and I love Duke,
Yeah.
and he wow, changed my life.
The non-threatening part is big though, Mercedes, because I think
Yeah,
it's so weird that we as women, like, that's something that we find attractive. Like, you are a man who's not threatening. Like,
it's so
you
true.
know?
Yeah, we've said it a lot on this pod.
Mhm.
And there's this clip from The Simpsons where Lisa is holding up a magazine that's called like Non-Threatening Boys Mag. And my friend
Uh,
Alyssa always says it to me 'cause she's like, "Girl, that's this is for real you." And I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
Like, it's just always been who I am. But I mean, it is such a good quality to have. And I think a lot of men fall victim to like hyper masculinity in and like
Mhm.
toxic machismo in so many ways that when you do find the non-threatening guys, like, it makes him so much more special because 'cause you're just like, "Oh, you're
Mhm.
approachable, I feel safe around you," and that's all very
Yeah.
important.
It's like a breath of fresh air, which is so refreshing. So
True.
refreshing. All right, guys, it's time for Mary Smooch Ghost. Mercedes, we have Duke, Sebastian, and Justin. Who would you marry? Who would you smooch? And who would you go?
Okay, obviously, I'm marrying Duke. I don't
Obviously.
wanna smooch Sebastian or Justin 'cause,
Mm,
honestly, to me, they're both jerks.
yeah.
I'm gonna ghost them both 'cause
Okay.
I do not care for them.
Okay. Okay. So I do have an answer to this, but I have to preface it first. Okay. So I would, yes, marry Duke. I would smooch Justin and I would go Sebastian. The reason being is a lot of people don't know Rob Hoffman. He is actually an incredibly talented dancer, just as much as Channing Tatum is, the
Yeah.
actor who plays him. Like, it is incredible. Like, he's such a good dancer. He's in like What is that? Stomp the Yard, I think? No, he's no.
Is
It's
it Step Up to the Streets?
yes, 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 he is, but he's
Yeah.
also in, um, God, what is that one with Omarion? You Got Served. You Got
Oh my god, he's in You Got Served? Who does he
Yes.
play?
I think I'm pretty sure he's in You Got Served. He plays, like, the leader of the other dance troupe there.
Ugh,
Yeah.
that movie, I need to rewatch that soon.
It's an old one. It does not age well at all. But, it is what it is. Yes, the fact that we have, like, 2 men who are, like, professional dancers and neither of them are
Yeah.
dancing in this movie, like, what is this? Come on. Why did we not have, like, a dance sequence in here?
I know,
Yeah.
just, like, on the soccer field, just start dancing, please.
Start dancing. They should have a dance off instead of, like, a fight. Anyways. Guys, we always like to bring in a pop culture moment before we wrap up. Speaking of sexy men, did you know that Channing Tatum and Zoe Kravitz are together? Apparently, they're
Yeah, apparently they're still together, because I knew that they had, like, a fling, because he brought back the buzz cut with her, and they looked really cute riding bikes together in New York. But I heard this week that they're still together, which I thought was surprising to me.
Wait, when did they start? I don't even know when
It
they
was, like,
started.
last year,
Oh,
like, around this time last year. So it's been a minute.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, I want to know who is your favorite Channing Tatum love interest? Jenna Dewan, Jessie J, or Zoe Kravitz?
Oh, Jenna Dewan every day. I mean, like, you
Yeah,
can't get o like,
every day.
Step
She's the
Up
goat.
is so special because they were falling in love while they were filming, and those are always
Yeah.
just, like, the most special romance movies just because, like, you're seeing the love story unfold on screen, and you're seeing the real life one unfold, and you're just like, "Wow." Like, every time I watch it, I'm just amazed, and, like, I get a little emotional because 'cause I'm like, "Wow, like, this turned into,
Mhm.
like, such a big love."
Yeah, they had a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What is your pop culture moment?
So, like you said before, I just love how Channing Tatum and Robert Hoffman are both in this movie because
Mhm.
they are both major aspects of the Step Up franchise.
Yes.
And it's just like the funniest overlap because here Robert Hoffman plays like such a weenie and he's so pathetic.
Hey.
And then he's so hot in Step Up 2. Like, at the
Yeah.
end when they're doing the breathing. Oh my
Yes.
God. Like,
Oh my
iconic. And then in this, you're just like, "Go wipe your nose. I don't like you at all. Leave me alone."
god. That's so funny. Absolutely, yes. Shout out to Rob Hoffman. Yeah,
Yeah,
icon, icon.
yeah. And then I just want to give another shout out to Amanda Bynes one more time. We should all show her more appreciation for the comedy she's brought us as a young star. Plus, her conservatorship was terminated in March 2022, and that is just so amazing. So
Mhm.
I just want to send her all the love.
Absolutely, 100%. Listeners, we want to hear from you guys. What do you think about this movie, She's the Man? Are you a fan of Shakespeare? Is Duke your crush in the movie? What do you think about the switching of gender roles? Make sure to let us know your thoughts. You can slide to our DMs at Me Cute. Again, I'm Kendra, and you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Ken10Hollywood.
Yes, and I've been Mercedes. You can find me at MercedesGV11 on Twitter, IG, and TikTok. And if you're looking for new rom-coms, follow Meet Cute wherever you listen to podcasts and follow Meet Cute on socials everywhere. Bye, everybody.
We'll see you next week.